before we begin, Skynet is outside. Terminator is real. Everyone has to run. No one is waking up to that. Okay. Um, so the focus, of course, of this conversation is all around AI. And before, this great panel out here is going to talk absolutely hardcore tech and the deepest parts of AI that are going to change your life. Question for the audience, and you could probably just scream out your answer. Your favorite AI movie? Anyone? Nobody watches movies out here. Hey, I got a hand up there. Which one? Terminator. Okay, so I gave a hint out there. You can't steal from that. Anyone else? Yeah, great one, great one, great one. It also reminds me of a social post that went out recently where someone had said about the AI should do their chores so they can do art and creativity. And keeping that great thought in mind, I'm going to have my first question for the panel, and this is open to the entire panel because AI is as new as when Henry Ford came with the car, right? Like if Henry Ford said that if I asked people what they wanted, they'd say faster horses. But today, AI is so big with, be it with televisions, with smartphones, with computers. So how do you perceive AI as changing the products y'all are offering, and how are you communicating its capabilities to the audience? So we can just take that question with your opinions on it. Let's start with you, sir.
Thank you so much, and welcome to all the guests here. I think AI is one of the biggest things which has come up. As simple as that, if I have to give a very simple example, is that there's a lot of people who are scared about AI. Jobs will be going and all those things which is happening. A lot of us are here from the corporate, so as simple as that, any new boss come into the organization, you feel like, oh, what is happening? But later on, you gel with it. You understand how it works. Same is the story with the AI. AI is here to help us. It's a next productivity revolution which is going to happen. It is meant to ease your work. It is not meant to scare you. It is there to help you bring better things for the consumers. It is there to analyze things much better, offer much better to the consumers. Uh, yes, there are certain limitations to the AI, but there's nothing too scared about AI. It is changing the dynamic for the marketers. But as a marketer, you always live in a era or a day which is highly dynamic in terms of the consumer behavior being changing, in terms of the preferences being changing, in terms of the technologies being changing. So AI is adding a lot of value, but there is always a human interference which is required.
So, Sumit, same question for you. Especially having announced a fantastic product fairly recently in the PC space, how are you changing the communication game?
I think there's a lot of confusion around AI, right? I will build up on what Vipin said, right? I think there is a fear that AI is going to take your job. Okay, it's not going to. Okay, I think human creativity at this particular point in time is even more important because AI is there to give you a direction. Okay, but when it comes to explanation, right? How do you actually explain it to the consumer? Is by showcasing use cases. Okay, nobody cares. Like even when we launched the new PC. So by the way, Qualcomm introduced a new chipsets now which will power your PC, right? There was one point in time where Intel and AMD were the only brands which were powering your PCs. Qualcomm is the latest entry, and Qualcomm is going to change the game on the PC side of it. But how do you actually communicate that, right? You and I can talk about 45 tops, okay? But what does it mean for the consumer? You have to showcase use cases. Let me give you a use case. For example, you speak Chinese, but I speak English, right? And we are in different regions, right? But you and I work together, and we have to understand each other very, very well. There are live translations now on your PC, now on your phone, which will help us in understanding better. Cutting those boundaries, cutting those regional boundaries, absolutely. For example, it can make you look good, and it can make you sound good when you are on a Zoom call or a Teams call, right? It will understand exactly what is the room lighting, optimize lighting for it. So unless you showcase use cases to the customer, they will not understand AI. It's a complex technology. We have been working on it for the last decade. But what you are seeing now is on a chip. And unless you understand use cases, you will never understand AI. Okay, so that's my take on it. You have to simplify. Our job as marketers here is to simplify understanding of technology and not complicate it even further. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shivam, from you as well,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Moto has been fairly innovative in the smartphone space. So how are you
Yes.
tackling the AI
No,
game?
absolutely. I mean, I think completely agree with what Vipin and Sumit have said just now. And, I really want to say that, definitely AI is the biggest revolution possibly that we're seeing after the internet revolution, right? I mean, it's as big and it's possibly going to redefine our lives in multiple ways that we can imagine. So it is a big thing. It is really important. It is really complicated, like Sumit mentioned, and it is complex. But the job that we as brands, when we are communicating with the consumers, is to ensure that we communicate it in an easy manner for people to understand what it really does for them through use cases, like he said. The other thing that I think is really important is for us to make it relevant, right? I mean, see, there could be use cases that are not relevant for consumers, right? So my addition to what Sumit said is, of course, it is important for us to communicate the use cases, but also it is important for us to communicate use cases that are relevant so that the consumers actually relate to it and hence are able to see why it benefits them, why it is better than what currently exists, and how it helps them as well, right? So I think that is the crux of I think how we should be communicating as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Amir. Good to connect again. So I'll start with the answer to your first question. So my favorite AI movie is Iron Man
Oh, yes.
and the AI in it,
Jarvis.
Mr. Jarvis. So I think so. Software and technology have been a very fairly steady part of our life and existence since last 30, 40 years. But the difference what with AI and artificial technology coming into picture is the learning aspect and the improvisation it does real time. So being a software engineer myself, uh, I have created tools and technology to do various tasks. But there was always a limitation of the code which was there. Uh, what I am putting my thought is what it will do. It is not going to learn from the feedback of the user. That was the difference. With AI coming into picture, the dynamism is there. So I'll give you an example from our industry. The gallery app, which we have in our phones, all of you must be using Google Photos, etc. So it creates those videos and memories by itself. Nobody tells it to create, to mix. You go on a trip, uh, it merges the photos and creates, it pushes out a very nice looking video to you. That's AI in action for you. Now it will learn. It will show you the video. If you download that video, so it will know that I've created something useful for you. And next time, it will push similar stuff. It pushes something to you and you don't like it. It will learn that. Okay, this is not something which you like and you want something else. So that's the dynamic aspect which AI has brought into. So another AI use case in our industry, being from smartphones, is the AI photo applications which are there. So in real time, they modify as per the lighting conditions, face recognitions. They are better and better. They see how you are using the phone or the devices and they learn. So that learning aspect is really revolutionary. It's real time. And I think we are yet to explore the number of use cases of this tech when it comes to smartphones. Like one of the use cases which Sumit was mentioning is the real-time translation. So people talk in various ways, various accents, various tonalities, etc. But AI is that powerful technology which gives you that real-time translation in various sets of conditions, which was not possible earlier in normal softwares and all. So I think it is for the good, and we are exploring this tech, and just tip of the iceberg has been explored, and we'll see various real-life use cases emerging out of it.
Absolutely, yeah. And sticking with the smartphone space,
Just
Shivam.
before you move on, Samir, I have one this thing. We've got three responses to your first question. Nobody said matrix.
Yeah, I was actually waiting for one of you to say how you're going to sponsor the next
so I couldn't
movie
hold
where AI
myself.
is not the villain. You know, the AI is the hero of the day. You know, we need a movie that says that.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I couldn't hold myself from saying that.
No, no, absolutely.
I
Loved it.
just want to add over there is that what the other colleagues here have mentioned. Uh, the AI is fantastic, definitely. I'll give you a very simple use case when with my stint with the mobile phones, in my earlier stint with Oppo. Selfie trend was there. There was a lot of selfie trends. There was a AI tool for the filter which was utilized in Oppo. What happened is that you take a selfie, Indian woman putting a bindi, it was getting erased because of the AI. That is where the human intervention is required because AI is built on lot of data, but it is the cultural nuances are missing. You can't use any typical AI in everywhere. It has to be customized. It has to come out. What happened in one of the complaints which we got during that time, I'm talking about 2017-18, a newly married woman who posted a picture in Indian culture from North India. The bindi is being removed, sindoor is being removed. She got a backlash within her family. So that sort of issues can happen if you don't intervene from a human angle, the cultural aspect, because there's a lot of data. What is AI? AI is simply a marketing word, artificial intelligence. Practically, it's a machine learning, which is based out of a lot of data which has been put into the system. Based on that, the prediction is being done, algorithm has been made, the interpretation has to be done from the human interface. It cannot be totally machine learning. We are not into AGI. Artificial general intelligence is way ahead. We are not there as of now. The day we will get that, none of the AI app till date is able to match the Turing result test till now. None of them has passed it. Alan Turing is one of the biggest name in the data scientists when it happened in 1950, 1960. Till date, there is no app or AI tool which can pass this test. So there's a lot of improvement which is required, but definitely there are a lot of things which need to be added over there. Don't take it blindly. Another example I can give you is what happened to Gemini from Google. A lot of backlash happened. What sort of a response was coming out? So it all needs to be improved over a period of time. A lot application has to be applied in a real life. As a student of communication or a marketer, the best way to communicate technology is create a scenario application. That is what we do, is that show the scenario how technology can enhance your utility for your day-to-day life. That is where we call a scenario communication, scenario pictures, scenario-based videos, scenario-based reviews. That is how you communicate the technology. That is how, because if I tell you artificial intelligence on day one, it will be a big complex subject for anybody. So you have to show it in a real life scenario. You, as a marketer, you go out, communicate based on the scenarios, time and again, time and again, time and again. Then your subconscious head absorb that communication, your relevance while buying a product, make it more simpler for your choices. That's how we as a marketer try to do it. A lot of ad agencies partner for us who help us do this based on those scenarios. A complex subject is being simplified, like how Sumit and other panelists already said. That's how this game works in real practical marketers' life.
Yeah, I think you're right about the fact that it's a first generation product and there's always great room for growth. And I'm sure Sumit can agree to the fact that when Qualcomm came out with their first phone chips and where they are today is kind of a world of a difference. And I think we'll see the same evolution happen with the PC chips that you guys are. So that's my question to you is, you know, on-chip AI, AI on your PC. I mean, we can try it, and for those of you that have access to a brand new laptop that will be powered by Qualcomm in the future, just pressing one button and saying, make a PPT for this event for me, and it happens in 5 minutes, what would take you a few hours to do. How do you ensure that this communication is right for your right audience, and it's hitting the nail on the head that this product is the right solution for me?
Okay, so let me first talk about PCs, okay? For example, and I'm sure in this room, there might be a lot of people who would want to have a YouTube career for that matter, okay? What we did is that while you have the computing power which is sitting on the chipset, it is also very important that you have programs or apps which people use. Okay, let me just give you an example. Most of the people who might know video editing might also know DaVinci Resolve, okay, or might be aware of the entire Adobe suite, which is Photoshop, Lightroom, and so much more, right? Now, what we were talking about, right? For example, you spend like 2 days on editing a simple video, whereas your time should be going in writing that piece and shooting that piece, right? What took you 2 days will now take the machine 45 seconds to edit. For example, a lot of times we as content creators, we fumble, okay? All of those, right? AI can absolutely remove that, right? Now, if I build this as a use case, if I am showing you that I'm saving you time, right? Time is money, right? If I'm saving you time and you pitch that to that particular target audience, you will have a much clear hit rate on that particular audience, okay? So, for example, this is basically a productivity hack, right? It will help you in being more productive. Let me talk about phones. Most of your new chipsets, which are the flagship chipsets, 8S Gen 3, 8 Gen 3, now come with something called Qualcomm Sensing Hub. Okay, that's an independent unit which is sitting on your chipset. What that sensing hub is doing is, for example, it knows that at 7 a.m. Samir goes for a walk. Okay, and every morning at 7 a.m. a phone has multiple sensors.
You can't divulge my routine to the audience, but okay.
So at 7 a.m., you know that your phone has multiple sensors, accelerometer, gyroscope, and so many things, right? At this particular point in time, your phone actually understands that, okay, Samir is going for a walk, accelerometer, gyroscope is in full action. I will prompt Samir, ki, hey, your schedule has always Spotify and this particular playlist running in. Can I save you time over there? By prompting you just on a press of a button, you are right into that particular playlist, right? The moment you take out the phone from your pocket and then you scan a QR code or just face recognition, right? It immediately understands that you are taking the phone out and you are going to now face unlock. So all of this could be made faster. Let me give you another example. You are in a metro or you are in a flight. The AI is now going and sitting on your connectivity part of it. What it will do, it earlier used to take you 5 seconds for you to latch onto the network. Now AI exactly knows that you have been in airplane mode and the phone has been accelerometer and all that data is already there. The phone will now latch onto the network in just 2 seconds, right? Because it was already ready for that proactive measure. These are the AI related functionalities which we are building on. These are, like Vipin was saying, right? How can you show it to the consumer? Unless I show you that this is going to change your life, you're not going to opt for it. You are just going to be scared. So there's no point to be scared. These are hacks which are now coming into your practical daily life. That's going to save you time. That's going to save you money. You can be fairly more productive, right? I'm talking about that tweet, right? That let AI do my chores and let me focus on creativity. Yeah. It is exactly doing that now. So understanding of these use cases for us as marketeers, right? Because if I don't understand it, how will I communicate? That is the most important bit. And that is what we are pushing in the Indian market. Again, personalization is a big, huge aspect. I believe that the next generation of phones will be app-less phones. Okay, we are a fab-less company. We don't manufacture chipsets, but the next generation of phones will be app-less phones. Because the phone itself is capable enough to understand and preempt every move of yours. Every phone in the next 10 years will be a personalized phone. It is not just another phone which you are buying and putting a SIM card in and it is running for you. It is going to be your personal phone suited only for you because it understands you and it understands what you do. So that is where I think us as marketeers become even more important. You have to understand that tech. If you don't understand it, you're no good to the consumer.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the way fiction has influenced us. You just spoke about the movie Her in so many ways, where it's just all about you and your device knows exactly what you want. And if you can get Scarlett Johansson's voice in there, I think we're sorted. But speaking of the way fiction represents what we have, especially with AI, Shah Rukh Khan flipped the Moto Razor and made it the most iconic thing. So is the next Dawn movie, which is under production, has another Moto phone with some cool AI features? Or being more serious about it is, can you highlight how Moto is working be it with your chipset partners or with your operating system partners, to bring some great uniqueness for a motor phone powered by AI?
No, absolutely. I think there is an absolute conviction that Motorola has as an organization that AI is the future. And smartphones being the closest thing to you, the most personal thing for you, the most something that is there with you almost 24 hours of the day, is the turning point. It is going to be the biggest touch point from an AI perspective, from a use case perspective for the consumers. And we believe that we should lead the race, and that's where we are focusing on those efforts. In principle, we are focusing on 5 pillars, and some of those I think Sumit also mentioned in what he was saying. But let me try to say what are those 5 pillars that we are working on. Number one is the AI should be contextual, right? So when you have a phone, the phone understands. So exactly what he said, right? He understands your routine and knows exactly what you might want to do at that point of time, and hence it's context-based. So if you are, for example, if you're sitting in a restaurant versus you're sitting at home, what should be the recommendation, right? It'll be different depending on whether you're eating outside or you're eating at home, right? The second is personalized or personal, which is understanding your usage behavior, understanding how you operate, and customizing the recommendations or suggestions for you. The third thing, which I think is very important for all of us to understand and also abide by, and also for the consumer perspective, because I think a lot of fear that the consumers have is coming from the fact that it's going to take over. But the third pillar that we focus on is being collaborative. It is not that the AI should dictate or AI should decide on its own what needs to be done. It has to be a collaborative effort. So you need to ensure that the consumer, the user, and the AI work together to create experiences that are meaningful, right? So the third pillar. The fourth is being proactive, right? So if you have to tell the AI every time what needs to be done, then frankly it loses the purpose. The fourth pillar that we want to work on, we want to ensure AI does, is to be proactive, right? So give you prompts, give you suggestions when it seems, when it appears that the moment has arrived. And last but not the least, be helpful, right? So add value. So these are the 5 pillars that we focus on, and we are trying to integrate this in everything that we do, all the experiences that we bring out for the consumers. Of course, like you said, it's still evolving. It is still the first generation. We are all working towards making these experiences better. But there are those experiences which are being brought alive, whether it is generative AI, whether it is on-device, whether it is cloud-based AI features, which are adding to these features. But one thing we keep in mind is that whatever we introduce should fit these 5 pillars, which are the principles of the kind of AI that we want to do. It should not be something that is just added from a perspective of creating a gimmick or creating something buzzworthy or newsworthy, because I think everybody today is clamoring for those, keywords and, the trends, which I believe should not be the case. And like I said in the beginning, should be relevant, should be useful, and that is when it will make sense.
And Purvansh, I mean, for a brand like Lava, right? It's a homegrown brand. It has its roots right here. So from the perspective of a homegrown brand trying to cater to an audience, bringing AI, there's so much competition in the market. How are you, positioning the communication out there that we have something different as well to offer? We are also at the forefront of this technology revolution. And how are you kind of ensuring that the people have more access to this in a more accessible way?
Yeah, so I'll start with what Sumit was mentioning, where the industry is progressing. So overall, devices are progressing towards a stage where they're extremely personalized, extremely personalized. So, like I'll give you an example which everybody will relate to, is your YouTube or Netflix. When you log in, you see a set of videos with your account, and your wife logs in or sorry kid logs in. It's a different set of world. आपको लगेगा यार दूसरी ही ऐप चल रही है. So Netflix का जो recommendation engine is a very very good example of artificial intelligence, which is practical and usable. So if you see how they recommend movies and content, it's very complex. It's not that easy. So so a surface level categorization of content is comedy, action, thriller. But if you see how Netflix categorizes its content, you'll see there are 6 to 7 adjectives say it's a doomsday thriller or whatever. So they have this set of 10, 15, and as you increase the number of variables in a system, it becomes all the more complex. And that's where you need a very advanced system like an artificial intelligence system, which can analyze and tell you कि you like this specific type of action movies also. So that's the one layer or two layer deeper where the industry is progressing. And when it comes to Lava and smartphones overall, I think that's where we will move. We will move towards applications. So there are two aspects on which you can divide it. One is obviously the experience part, in which we are saying where you are you traveling, or what are you doing, are you running, and all of that thing. And phone personalizes your experience. So that's one bit of it. And second is obviously we are working towards applications. Some of them have been implemented and are in the works. Like one of the very visible use cases is the camera. So you like certain type of skin tone, color tonality, you like nature photography. That's what the app learns from your device, and gives you that type of settings which enhances. So for example, you are in nature photography, you like clicking photos of trees and animals and all, so outdoor, you are an outdoor guy. So you need settings which enhances those photographs for you. So the devices will change accordingly, the settings and all of that automatically to suit your taste, and they will learn. You like it, you're not liking it, are you changing that photo after click, are you not changing? Obviously, and some of the other applications which are being developed and already there is the Notes app. They make you use Teams also, so you see AI note taker, and it's not refined right now, not to the level which we want, but yes, these are the things which are in work, and we'll see more and more applications which makes overall experience very personalized for the people.
You started by talking about entertainment, which has generally been a big screen experience, right? And when you speak of AI in televisions, it's been there for a while, right? You've always heard brands talk about AI upscaling for your older content to look good, AI recommendations, like you just said, from OTT and streaming services. So there has been a fair bit amount of communication in the television space when it comes to what AI can do for you on the big screen in your house. What do you see as the next step in this evolution, especially with the sister concern products also bringing in so much AI? So for the big screen, what's next in AI, and how do you as a marketer plan to communicate that to the audience?
There is already existence of AI in every television, any smart television which is there in your house or in your premises. Uh, 4K AI upscaling is well known term in the industry. Next term coming up is 8K upscaling with AI. Uh, Samsung is already communicating around it, but the problem is that in India there's not much of 8K content being produced. But the upscaling is happening. Is your network infrastructure is ready for it? So that's another question to it. Coming to brand like to my brand, Hisense and Toshiba, uh, we are a brand which is in the television industry for last 53 years. We are being present in more than 160 countries across the globe. Uh, we have 1 lakh plus engineers onboarded, 25 odd R&D sectors across the globe. We have our own AI chipset in-house developed for Toshiba and for Hisense both. For Hisense it is HiView engine, and for Toshiba it's a Rega engine which enhances the overall capability of a normal device. So it's a heart within a heart. Adding to that, we already are in spatial agreement with your MediaTek with super resolution chip which is being developed. Yes, so which is already there. So a lot of things is happening. The what is next happening in the television or a big screen as a category is that television will be more of your hub for all your IoT connection. The entire game of the industry moving ahead is being inspired by Apple about the ecosystem creation. So in fact, the smartphones are also working on the ecosystem story. Same goes with the television brands also with the ecosystem story. So we recently did something very interesting on CES this year with a prototype of how the smart homes will be looking like. So just to give you a simple example, that you are sitting in your drawing room, you are enjoying your favorite sport, you get a message, it's time for you to eat something, you give a command, automatically there is a chopping happening and your oven gets started, you get a pop-out message on your system that your food is ready, your meal is ready, you go out and take it out. So as simple as that. That's the connectivity and AI story. What it takes care of is, in our prototype, is your food allergies, the temperature at which you want to eat food. So all those things, the personalization, the amount of intelligence this system can bring in every household is huge. But there is also a drawback to it. Your world is getting narrow. How you behave will be learned by the with the machines. But what you want to explore will not be offered to you very often. So it has both the sides. Do you want to be productive or you want to learn new things? To learning new things, you want to add little more. So that's where the prompt engineers become a key for this industry, for the AI, how prompt engineers work. The reason I took up this prompt engineering is because we are working dedicatedly on prompt engineering so that you get more inputs. Your AI is more refined, what we offer to our consumers. Coming to the specific features, how we deal with it is that we already have a AI sports mode in our product, which enhances the overall experience. It does not, you don't have to care about what is the network you are getting. Whatever the network you are getting, it enhances the overall experience, the visual and sound. As simple as that, we tested around looking into the sweat of Surya Kumar. We can see it very clearly. So as simple as that, that sort of an enhancement is happening because there is a lot of input of data which is being done. Same way, if I have to say, is where we are working, we are breaking it into different categories. Why different categories? Because AI typical role is to give you personalization, which is coming out based on what you want to look, plus what world with similar nature or interest is also looking out. That's where it adds a value. So one is sports, another is movie as an entertainment mode, which is being worked on from this category point of view. Then sound. The category code is entertainment, sound, and visual. These are the key words for this category. It has to be entertaining, it has to have a stunning visual, it has to have a great sound. These are the keywords for the category code for this television as a category all itself. So that's where our energies are going. Then there's another interesting stuff which we are doing is there's also a collaboration which is happening with Dolby IQ coming into the picture. So a lot of more closer to action experience can be seen with the help of AI on the television segment. And as an organization, our vision is that we should be the forefront runner, the flag bearer of this, because we understand this business since ages. We are there since 5 decades across the globe. We understand what is happening, what is not happening. AI will be there in television, but I totally believe the next bigger thing coming for AI is smartphones, not the television. Television would be more of a hub to create that all centerpiece for the IoT system to get connected and create that ecosystem story for every brand. That's where. But the centerpiece will remain around the smartphones. How smartphones develop this over a period of time.
Absolutely, yeah, and and TV has had the first mover advantage when it comes to AI upscaling and technologies like that. So it is slightly more mature in the space. But turning the topic on its head a little bit, we as a publisher get a lot of feedback from our audience based on the content that we put out. It's a fairly tech-savvy audience, and I want to understand the same from you, starting with you, Purvansh. Like the communication you have with your audience, the feedback that you get. Keeping AI in mind, right? Are they asking the right questions about it? Are they well aware of it? What has their feedback been for you, and how is that changing your communication?
Uh, so coming to the communication part or the marketing part, all of us are marketing teams. Uh, it has become a part of our daily routines now, using AI in various forms. And so again, with AI, the applications and use cases are n, like you can use it for anything. But how uh, we are using it as a part of our team, our multiple ways. I'll give you some examples. So like Adobe Suite was mentioned, and our designers and design team have started using tools which create. I'm seeing more and more creatives from agencies as well generated on AI. So you can clearly recognize AI, and we have used in some of our launches also. We have used AI generated posters, AI generated copies, etc. So it's up to that level, and I'm seeing it more and more. It's increasing by the day. In fact, many, like I'll say like 30-40% of our creatives have some sort of AI influence. There are many tools which are already there, and some of our designers are using that. Obviously, then with the advent of Chat GPT, I think that has been the breakthrough moment for AI. Uh, Chat GPT made it mainstream. People saw what AI is capable of. So, and it was a very different way. You can talk to it and discuss ideas. So, you're launching a product, for example, and it has XYZ features. You tell it the feature, it will tell you how to promote it, it'll throw tons of ideas to you. You can tell the AI that no, these ideas are not good, I want something else, I want something in this zone, that zone, more youthful, so not exciting, and it responds accordingly. It gives you those ideas, and it's like a brainstorming partner for you, even if you're sitting at, and I think it's revolutionary for independent creators. Like, we still are a team of 20, 25, 30 people, uh, but independent people who are working from homes, and they want a creative partner. I think AI is that partner. They can now, as he was saying, like, जिस काम को 2 दिन का समय editing में, simple editing में it takes 2 days. Now editors are doing it in half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, and more productive time is spent on the actual core, which is the script and the thought or the concept. So I think it gives that window to our teams also. So when it comes to our marketing teams, so concept generations have become more faster. We are seeing diversity in concepts which are there, and I think in that sense, it has become a part of our daily routines.
Absolutely, yeah. Shivam, how are you guys tackling consumer feedback on the AI space, and how are you perceiving that going forward?
No, very interesting. See, I think we are constantly tracking because we are communicating a lot around AI, and the whole world is. So we are definitely tracking the word clouds. We're seeing what kind of questions the consumers are raising, and I think the biggest thing that we are seeing is, of course, there is a lot of ambiguity, right? And ambiguity is of two types. One is, what does it mean? For example, there are a lot of jargons flying around which consumers don't understand. So what does it mean? Second is, what does it mean for me, right? How does it help me? And the third is it really required, right? I mean, does it change my life at all, right? So these are the three kind of sort of big questions that are floating around right now. And maybe because everybody is trying to own the AI space, that's where consumers are questioning it. You know, what is it that really makes sense? People are currently being bombarded with that. So I think it is very example for us to try and simplify, like I said in the beginning, but how do we do that? So let me give you an example, for example. This feature, like a simple feature, a camera feature, which is available on our device, which is enhancing the images through AI. Now, how does it work exactly? If you look at how does it work, it uses the when it captures a picture, it captures it at 10 different exposures, and then takes the best section out of it, and then combines it to give you the optimal output. Now, you can't explain that to a consumer, right? So the first is name the feature in the simplest way, right? So you name it as photo optimization, right? So the moment you name the feature correctly, I think half the job is done. And the second is, how do you communicate it? Now, what we have done, in fact, if you look at the Edge 50 Pro campaign, which is one of the recently launched phones where we brought in AI in a big way, we've actually looked at personifying AI. So we've actually created, because see, if you understand how humans consume content, you know, it's very easy for them to understand visually. And AI, typically, it's very difficult to visualize. What is it doing? How is it doing it? So we've actually personified it by creating a character which represents the AI and then we are showing exactly what it is doing through that personification. So making it very simple, not just for them to understand what is the output, but also the process. Because frankly, if you look at the Indian consumers, they're tech savvy. They don't want oversimplification. So if you give them something very, very simplified, they might feel this is trivial. Doesn't make sense. Why is AI required for it? So you need to also show that there is significant value add that AI is doing, but do it in a way that makes sense, is understandable, and the output is relevant.
So Sumit, we need an alternative for 45 T-flops, that means.
I think he's very right. I'll build up on what Shivam said. Okay, our focus right now as Qualcomm, and see, we work with multiple partners. We don't build our own phones or our own TVs. We build with multiple partners, right? So our main focus right now is education. Okay, and how do we educate more and more customers? Basically simplifying for what Shivam is also doing, right? While he is doing it with a marketing name, we are making the tech simpler to understand in a much more technological point of view. Okay, for example, let me give you on pictures. Okay, so we introduced something called AI denoising. Okay, and now what is AI denoising? You are in a low light setting and you click a picture and you know that noise is the first thing which will crop up. Okay, now is my algorithm and is my NPU capable enough to understand that, okay, this is noise, this is the actual picture. Okay, what it will do is, because it has taken multiple frames, it exactly knows that in which frame is how much noise, and it will cancel out that entire noise, apply a filter or apply that particular setting which will make it brighter, because we all like brighter pictures. If you go on Instagram, low light shots, night mode is a rage because you like good high contrast pictures. That's what we as Indian consumers like. So you can do all of that, but how do you explain it? You have to educate the customer, right? It doesn't need to sound trivial. You have to make it understandable for the consumer by explaining what is the tech going behind it. Okay, this is the tech which goes behind it. Understanding each and every frame and then reapplication. So one is this, okay, which is basically the consumer education part of it. But we at Qualcomm are using AI to demystify AI. Okay, and that is what is the most important, right? How do you simplify this entire communication? Can you use AI to explain AI? And that is what we are doing. So, for example, campaign analytics. We are now using AI to understand trends are changing all the time, right? You wake up one day and the trend has changed. Can you re-optimize your campaign in such a way that it is still relevant the next day? Okay, so that has gone, the analytics has now gone into our day-to-day working. And that analytics is helping us to be relevant on all the campaigns. I will re-optimize. I have real-time optimizations going on into my campaign with my team, which will make sure that the highest ROI is possible on this particular campaign. So I'll stop on this. One is basically AI for AI, and one is basically consumer education on helping your multiple partners, but also helping the consumers that this is the way it works.
Absolutely, and I think that was actually pretty fantastic to close out on, because we are in the business of communication, and it's right to have the right message to the audience and know that the right message is being reached in the right optimal way possible. So thank you so much to the panelists, for your great insights. I actually learned a lot today myself, including your favorite movies on AI. And thank you so much to E4M for having us out here for this.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.